Hello, this is David Geckel from Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm a Leeds United fan. And we're back, bitches, and we're never fucking leaving. And you're listening to the DU Football Show.
I just felt it was
DFL.
Appropriate. I love you, Geckel. But I just felt like it was the right way to start a new flagship episode was with Geckel's lovely chant that Mike Rogers covered so well also. That was pretty brilliant.
It was.
Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DUEFL show, a completely biased, brief recap of the English Football League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, just finished the marathon, Mr. Samuel Graham. How you doing, buddy?
Wait.
Uh-huh.
There's life outside the Premier League?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, my God.
I know for you and I, that we've never experienced a world outside the Premier League, and
Not
it's weird.
in our lifetime,
yeah,
no.
it's been a minute, you know.
Well, for you, it's been the 50s. For me,
not
it's
in
been
my lifetime, believe it or not. I'm not that
112 years or some shit
I'm
now?
not that fucking old dick. You're fucking killing me. We are recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch our primary show, the DU Football Show, live every single Monday night. Should you want to chat with us, there's many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It's at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email. We are going to keep those the same. So get in touch with your EFL questions to those tags and email address, if you would, please. Helps us stay organized to have everything in one spot.
Yeah, it does. And unless you suddenly give me 500 fucking listeners of this show, then gladly I will
We'll set up
there will be a second Twitter and a second email. That is for fuck sure. All right. So Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and have a deep, passionate love for all things.
Shut the fuck up. We're recording it the same night. We're drinking the same thing we were before. Westward Milestone, Solera age, no age statement because it's between 3 and 20 years old. It's fucking excellent. Move on.
Very good. Well, then fuck it. Let's get into it. We're going to cover all three tiers of the English Football League, and we're going to start off here with the championship.
Again, my mind is blown.
Yeah.
I didn't know these other 72 teams existed. This is amazing to me.
It's all new to you. And the championship, this will only take 8 years to cover this season because, as it has been well documented, it has 8,456,000 games a season.
So much so that you just created a new word for it.
Yes, I did.
Documented.
I know. Don't mind me. It's been a long fucking night, Graham.
If it's over 5,000 pages, or 5,000 games, rather, it's documented, not documented.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's get started. On Friday, they kicked off the season with Armstrong and Adams both scoring as Southampton win 2-1 over Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, and there was some kind of excitement surrounding Wednesday as well. But you thought Southampton really didn't lose many players, and they still really had their. Obviously, they got relegated, but they're quote-unquote talismanic players. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse, we've spoken about multiple times. But Che Adams and Stuart Armstrong, a few others, were still there. A bit of a shaky game this. They
were down. They had to score
as
two.
Comfortable as you thought they would be. I mean, ultimately, they got the points, and that's what matters.
Right.
But, I mean, even Kenny texted me and was like, yeah, this is a little nerve-wracking.
In another match that was also a little nerve-wracking too, it took 2 goals in the last 20 minutes from Dewsbury Hall for the Foxes to beat Coventry, who was the team that was in the playoff final last season.
Yeah. I talked to you earlier about this today about this, and I'll be surprised if Kieran Dewsbury Hall is a Leicester player by the end of the week.
Yeah, I
think there's going to be some panic buying by Premier League clubs, and Leicester are desperate for fucking cash because their owners don't have any.
I feel like he's currently a cheap expense for them, and he's young. For me, I feel this is more like a Jack Grealish situation where he's going to stay with the club.
Wait till they come up and then get them $70 million instead of 35. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm shocked. Yes, that is the case. I'm also fucking shocked that James Ward-Prowse is not going from Southampton yet. And honestly, I'm shocked that he is not at West Ham yet. It makes perfect sense.
It does.
It makes all, and it's not like West Ham doesn't have the money to afford to spend the over. They're going to overpay for him. It's going to be $40 million.
We talked about on the main show when I went through their transfers. I think they're 157 million or something.
Yeah, in the positive
that they've made this summer without really spending a dime.
Right, and for me, it's just like, why haven't you bought him yet? I think Dewsbury Hall is going to stick around just simply because of his age.
So honestly, excuse me, the rumor for West Ham is that they're now 50 million after Scott McTominay, which is not James Ward-Prowse.
Right.
There really isn't a creative bone in the McTerminator's body, to be honest. And sure, he's a serviceable midfielder that has a better defensive record than James Ward-Prowse. But in terms of
screams David Moyes.
He does. And James Ward-Prowse does not. Besides the fact that he can hoof a ball into a box better than anyone fucking else in English football.
In English football history. He kicks it better than fucking Beckham did. He's the fucking best. How he's not in the Prem already baffles me. If ever there's an English,
Southampton are holding out for too much money.
If there's an English tax worth overpaying for, it's fucking Ward-Prowse. It really is.
I tend to agree with you.
Also worth mentioning. Now, one of these is not a team that's been in the Prem, but I still want to talk about them. Norwich, Millwall, and Watford all got wins. Watford won 4-0. They got a nice convincing win.
Oh yeah, and up 2-0 very, very quickly in that game as well. I think inside 18 minutes or something ridiculous. They were up 2-0 now. They're going to be an interesting package. We do have to very quickly, because we're almost done with the championship, have to mention this is the August championship.
Yes,
we've already mentioned a few players: Che Adams, Stuart Armstrong, James Ward-Prowse, Kieran Dewsbury Hall. In 2 weeks' time, before the transfer window closes, that $35 million bid originally that you turned down goes to $40 million, $45 million. Suddenly, as a championship side, that becomes a bit more attractive.
Well, and then there'll also suddenly be all of the loanees of 18, 19-year-old kids from Premier League clubs down to the championship to, quote, toughen them up.
Right.
So, yeah, it is worth noting that this first month of the championship, I mean, it's the first
very stop-start.
It's the first of 87 months in a row.
Absolutely.
But it's going it's just,
but
you don't know what you have yet.
Yeah, obviously, if you're listening to this show, you've listened to the main show before. We do a betting segment. You know this. We tend to not bet on the first week of the season because we want to see where people fly, where people land, what happens, right? Usually. In the championship, I say take the first month off.
Yeah.
Don't put a dime down on the championship until September 1st. And then you can figure out what teams actually look like and how different that is from where we are today. And then you can actually make an informed decision about that betting.
Excellent. Well, keeping it rolling, Leeds go down 2 and have to score late. I mean, at the death late, to escape with a draw against Cardiff City. Not a good start
at all, because
the championship.
Cardiff City aren't expected to fucking do much.
Yeah.
And for them to ship what they shipped there in the first half is not great. And to have to claw back, obviously, it's kind of damning. To be honest.
Right. This is the team of all of them. We kind of expect to figure it out and get their asses back up, but it's just like not looking like that.
I'm not terribly worried that they'll go down from the championship, even if they get picked off a little bit. I think they have decent pieces all over the pitch. I think their coaching situation last season obviously was a shambles.
Bielsa brought in a ton of fucking kids that we never saw play until just recently.
Right.
and they're all going to perform well in the championship because they've all been Bielsa trained.
Well, exactly.
They know what to fucking expect.
I don't think they're going to have a problem in terms of going down. Like, even if Crescencio Somerville leaves, even if, those Nanto, some of those players get picked off, I don't think Leeds is going to go down to League One by any stretch. But I think they may, while they're still relatively immature, I think they may find it difficult to bounce back immediately. After this initial display.
Right.
Hopefully, you'd think they'd figure it out in about 6 weeks and go on a bit of a run. But this first game did not fill me with confidence for Leeds.
Now, talking about teams that were previously in the Premier League that did not start off their campaign very well, West Brom, Huddersfield, and Sunderland all lost. Huddersfield escaped by the fucking skin of their teeth last season.
Well, it's the Warlock doing his magic.
I don't know if the Warlock's going to be able to fucking repeat that magic with this team.
I don't think he is either, because their back isn't up against the wall.
Right.
I think after the first 10 weeks of the season, and they're sitting in dead last, I think the Warlock will start to perform.
Yeah, that's when they'll suddenly care.
It seems to be that that's just how Neil Warnock operates. When things are good, it's hard for him. When things are bad, he's very good at galvanizing a group.
Right.
And I think for now, at least, he is the man moving forward. And I think Huddersfield will ultimately be safe. But it's not a great start. It's not a great look. And I would tend to err on the side of caution of getting excited about Huddersfield.
Yeah. Well, right now, that's about what we're going to cover the championship, and this is kind of the idea of the show. We might not talk about your team every week. And if you want to hear about your team, fucking contribute. Tell us some shit that's going on so that we can go ahead and share it with everybody else too, because frankly, we're not sitting down and watching all these games. We're not. I'm looking at scores and then we're watching a few highlights, and that's what kind we're doing for this.
Yep.
So, but we also want to make sure that we build a community with the rest of the EFL, because there's enough Premier League or former Premier League teams around that it's time to start kind of talking about it
Absolutely.
more.
And all jokes aside, of course, obviously, I know that there's 72 other clubs, right?
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, there is life outside the Premier League. And that should be talked about, because the lifeblood of English football that nobody else in the world has is a 4-tier professional system where you still get 10,000 fans at a stadium, where you still get, week in, week out sellouts. You still get people that give a fuck.
When we were
that's
over
just
there,
the professional setup. You can go into non-league and find English teams that are just as well supported in terms of percentage of attendance as fucking Premier League clubs.
Yep.
And that needs to be paid attention to. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be celebrated, because the grassroots football in England, from non-league all the way up to the championship, is fucking brilliant.
I mean, we were in Portsmouth when we went
Absolutely.
over, and it was a Tuesday night, a cold Tuesday night.
It was windy on the South Coast.
And it was a complete sellout in the 3 home stands. So we were sitting in a fairly empty area because not a lot of Fleetwood fans came.
Well, they opened it up to home supporters because nobody came down. Fleetwood to Portsmouth is not a well-trodden path.
No.
And those 10 supporters that showed up had a bit of a trek ahead of them before they got there on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So they did us... a nice young family whose son I heard swear about 4 seconds into arriving in our seats. Were there, and then about 3 other blokes that just seemed like they had nothing better to do.
Yeah, but we looked out over a stadium that was fucking packed. You couldn't see a hole in those stands at all anywhere. So moving on to League One, Barnsley, unfortunately, had gotten relegated this past season from the championship, something that's never happened to them. Well, they emphatically let League One know who the fuck they were as they beat Port Vale 7-0.
Well, it's not even that they did it. Port Vale just gave up.
Yeah.
They just stopped playing.
Yeah.
After about the 18th minute or something.
they were
They
just like,
Port
fuck
Vale
it,
didn't give
this
a
is over.
shit. It was an absurd performance. And if Port Vale continue on with that mentality, very easy to see them get relegated this season, honestly. I mean, it was an absolutely pitiful performance from them. Now, fair play to Barnsley. You can only play what's in front of you. And they smashed them.
And get that goal advantage right away.
Absolutely.
Get that goal advantage right the fuck away. Remember,
100%.
It's 4 teams go up from League One, so you can... no, I'm sorry, 3 teams. It's 4 teams that go up from League Two.
From League Two, yeah.
But for the team that just recently got demoted, get that 1 or 2 spot, get yourself back up to the championship, and get yourself back in fucking
get out of this situation.
Because you're going to start to hear a lot of names in this in this little rundown here that are all championship or former Premier League clubs. In the case of Blackpool, Bolton, and Wigan, who all got opening victories.
Huge for all those clubs, absolutely. Wigan especially, because their attendances have dwindled again. We spoke about them when they were in the Premier League. Obviously, it was, under Roberto Martinez, won that FA Cup and everything else, and the stadium was packed and this, that, the other. But Wigan traditionally is a rugby town.
Yep.
We've spoken with this with Ben
Yep.
a few times, him being from there and the team he supports. But they don't always, Wigan, get the support that they necessarily deserve. And for them to be in League One is not great financially. Obviously, it's not inspiring for the town and everything else.
Well, and Wigan and Blackpool just went up and just came right back down from the championship.
Yep.
Now, in the case of Bolton had just plummeted all the way
After
down.
Allardyce, yeah.
To the point where they were almost out of professional football and almost liquidated.
Yep.
So they did make the playoffs last season. I am expecting big things from Bolton, and I
think Bolton might win the league. To be
I'm
honest with you.
actively rooting for Bolton to get that promotion back to the championship. That's for damn sure. The aforementioned team we already talked about, Pompey, Portsmouth, drew Joey Barton's Bristol Rovers. It was Joey Barton's Fleetwood Town when we were there on
That's
that
right.
Tuesday.
Absolutely. We did see him manage live.
Yep, we drew Bristol Rovers 1-1. Do you know that Joey Barton, his ex now, his Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it, he charges. It's a $5 subscription if you want to listen to his ranting and raving.
Nice.
Yeah. I looked at it and I just went, no, I can't do it.
Can we do ours for 50 cents? Is that possible?
No. We just got a bunch of followers, Sam. I don't want to go losing them. And then talking about...
Well, with the
the
exchange rate is only 35 pence.
Yeah, well, it's not Englishmen listening to us, kid. It's fucking Americans. We're an American show. Most of the Englishmen, what the fuck are these guys talking about? So anywho, another big disappointing demotion in the championship this past season was Reading. And Reading's a team that's been in the Premier League multiple times. They've had quite a bit of success in the championship. They go down, and in their home opener, they lose 1-0.
Not a great look here for Reading. And not a great look for Paul Ince. On the back of last season, I don't even know if he's still there.
Yeah.
But on the back of last season, they did not finish strong. There was, unrest in the dressing room. There a lot of issues going on at Reading just in general. It's almost what happened to Bolton post Allardyce.
Yeah.
It's just, kind of spending was out of control. There was no real direction for the club. There was new manager every 3 weeks or so, kind of thing. And then Paul Ince came in and kind of solidified him for about a month. And then fell off a cliff again. It's just not good. And to be in this position where they lose their home openers is just not great.
So going back to Bolton, since you brought it up with the Allardyce thing, I think the other thing that really ultimately destroyed Bolton too that season, the loss of Stuart Holden when they were in the Premier League.
When he broke his leg.
Massive leg break against Manchester United. He never came back to play again, really. He played a little, but not a lot.
He was out for, I think, 8 months in total, required multiple surgeries.
And then just was never able to recover physically.
It was never the same. Yeah.
And he was with him and Gary Cahill just leading that team, and it just...
Yeah,
the midfield fell apart after they lost Holden. That was really it for them.
Because of that leg break, we also got stuck with Alexi Lawless for a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking dick.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to finally wrapping up League Two. Get in, Aki.
Come on.
Opening up the season with a nice 3-0 victory over Newport County. Gotta fucking like that. That's fucking nice.
Love it.
Forest Green and Tranmere both lose.
Best pitch in League Two, I heard.
Goddamn better be.
Goddamn right.
Goddamn better be.
I know that guy.
I know that guy too.
Yeah.
Close personal friend of the show.
Yeah,
Ben
I like it. Mr. K.
We're going to have him on this show just to talk Wigan and fucking Aki.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
And he can speak to it. Forest Green and Tranmere in the vegetarian losing situation.
And they
It's
moved
not
on.
great.
They moved on from Big Dunk already, which I think is a mistake because it wasn't like Big Dunk was going to fix where they were so deep in the hole. It's like, all right, well, let them get a start at the club. Let them get a proper
Let them get a
season.
summer. Let them get a summer.
Right. Let them train these guys. You get Dunk for a reason, right? Inspirational leader kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let him fucking
problem
do
is
what he's
that
supposed to do.
The results didn't really improve under Dunk. Is the problem?
The team was shit, though.
Yeah. He also had that weird vegan video where he tried like quinoa for the first time or whatever it was. I don't know that was the right fit.
Heard.
To be completely honest.
Yeah, Dunk doesn't have a job right now. I think it's a crying shame because I think that man needs to get more managerial experience.
100%. You know where I'd like to see him, honestly?
Mm-hmm.
I think Big Dunk would be a perfect championship manager.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because those players are good enough to listen, to be able to do a job in general. What they need is a man manager and an inspirational leader, which is what Dunk is, right? Because if you're at the highest level, what are you teaching these people? That's kind of why Rafa Benitez's career faltered, remember? He tried to teach Cristiano Ronaldo how to take free kicks.
Right, precisely.
Like, they don't need a coach. They need a Carlo.
Yeah.
They need an Arteta.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, okay, set the shape up or, whatever. This is how we want to play or whatever. But ultimately, you're not teaching Odegaard how to pass.
Right. He knows how to pass already.
He knows how to pass, right? That's why he's here. You're putting your arm around him and you're going and coddling that talent. Mm-hmm. I think Big Dunk is that guy, and I think he knows when someone needs a boot in his ass. I would love to see this fit, and it's Duncan Ferguson at fucking Sunderland.
Oh, my God. I don't disagree with that.
Perfect.
I do not disagree with that
I think
one
match
bit.
made in heaven.
All right. So moving on, Shrimps out for Macombi as they beat a team we were asked to talk about, and then they never fucking talked
for
back
yourself,
about it. Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
About
Shrimps out.
Well, yeah, Shrimps
Come
out.
on.
Heard.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got fucking giant Norwegian crawfish over here, okay?
Okay. Well, they're not crawfish. You would say I have a langoustine if you wanted to do it properly.
Well, langoustine.
Yeah, they're
I have
fucking
a
giant.
Langy Dicky is what I got. Okay.
Anywho, it was Wassel who we were asked to talk about in our very early part of our career, and then the guy never spoke to us again after we talked about him, as we made it a point to talk about him. So, haha, your team fucking lost.
I feel like that's a Mike Rogers situation.
Yeah, it probably was.
In hindsight.
Yeah,
personally.
probably was.
But yeah, good on Morecambe. Well done.
Yep. And finally, in League Two, Wrexham get their first game back in professional football, and it saw them score 3 goals. Problem, MK Dons scored 5.
So Paul Mullins obviously got hurt preseason with the punctured lung against Manchester United, which is a football injury that I never knew could happen on a football pitch.
Right.
It's a strange thing to have go on. But still score 3 goals. Mm-hmm. Despite their leading goal scorer not being around.
Right. But we saw that in the FA Cup. They know how to score like it's going out of style. They can't fucking defend.
But I think that is promising. But a 5-3 defeat to MK Dons, who aren't really expected to do much. Not, the biggest club in the world, obviously.
Newly demoted, so they're going to be one of the, quote, better teams of the league.
That's probably fair to them, but 5-3, first game back in the Football League, it is Hollywood stuff, to be honest. Despite the loss, that's Hollywood stuff. An 8-goal thriller to open the league. Nah.
And that's what we got to expect from them, to be honest.
100%.
That's what this entire year is going to be for Wrexham. It's going to be Hollywood stories, without a doubt. Well, that is going to wrap it up, Sam. So your thoughts on our first little venture?
Not bad. It's nice to... It's nice to get out and see what the peasants are doing for a day.
You silly little twat.
It's lovely to go through. Obviously, we are actual fans of the EFL, which is why we took that 2-hour train ride to make sure that we saw Portsmouth while we were in England together.
Like, we got to go to Fratton Park.
We have to go to Fratton Park. It's Pompey's there, and it's not far away. And I think the whole train cost us a collective £38 round trip.
Yep.
So it was there to do. We talked our way out of a bar fight while we were in Portsmouth.
Yep.
Which was brilliant. Played a game of pool with an Englishman there. it's near and dear to our heart, the EFL. And despite neither one of us ever having experienced it, really, outside of just loving football. So it's fun to see. We've always had a fascination with Leyton Orient. We've always had a fascination with Aki. We've always had a fascination with with Portsmouth. Obviously, they have their ties to the Premier League, and when we first started really following football, and then their ultimate demise. So I love it. I think it's cool that we're diving into it a little bit. It obviously has to be brief. It's not our bread and butter,
right?
But it's fun, and I enjoy it. So I'm glad we're doing it, and I hope everybody else likes it as well. I hope they, at least if they don't like it, I hope they respect us for wanting to talk about it.
Excellent. And for those of you who support some of these clubs, reach out to us.
Please,
tell us
get
stories.
in touch. Yeah.
Let us know things that are going on. We want to hear about it because this is a collective, and we want to we still want to make sure we're talking about it, but we're going to need your help as well. So we'd love to hear from you.
I'd also love to know what it's like to drink a beer in view of the pitch. Let me know.
Well, and then finally,
you can't do that in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, last thing, Mr. Graham, this right here that we are doing is show number 299.
It is.
Next week when we kick off the DU football show, my good friend, it'll be 300 episodes.
Our 300 episodes. It has been a wonderful 5 years. All of us, Mel, you included in this, have grown exponentially from when we started with those tinny microphones I bought off Amazon.
Yeah, God.
To where we are today.
Hand-me-down board, old school hand-me-down board.
It's been a fucking fun ride. It's been a joy to grow this community.
You kept saying it's been. I had to do it.
You didn't have to.
I did.
I showed impulse control and didn't.
To grow this.
You showed zero impulse control as you tried to be polite. As you tried to reach through the fucking Zoom and molest Mark.
I mean, he was starting it. You saw the flirting in the chat.
Yeah. Please.
I would have been rude not to respond.
Okay, go ahead, Graham. You were saying?
I just kind of like it, I guess. It's been a big pleasure of mine over the last 5 years doing the show and watching all of us grow within our roles. And we talked about it on the tailgate show. Was just we have our niche and we always just seem to fall into and accomplish what we do. And our dynamic as not even on the show, but as a friendship group over the last 15 years has just been one of the highlights of my life, honestly.
You've made a life form and a half during this.
I know.
We thought it was weird when you said you were going to stop cutting your hair, but here you are 5 years later.
But no, seriously, over the last 15 years as a friendship group, how we've grown together and doing this and keeping it moving, and it's fucking fantastic, and I love it, and I thank everybody that tunes in. I thank everybody that downloads it, listens. It's an honor to bring this to you every week. And Mel said earlier, said the word fans on the last show, and I don't. It's weird to think of that word in relationship to us. I really do, and which is why we do the 20 supporter show. Is I literally think of them more as friends. Because the interaction is there. Everybody tunes in, everybody talks to us, everybody fucks around with us and jokes around, and they respect the bands and they respect the fun and they get what the fuck we do. We, out of the 12 people or 13 people that actually showed up, 11 of them were drinking.
Yeah.
Like they know what this show is. They know what the fuck we bring to the table, and they're part of our football family now, even though they support other teams.
Yep, agreed.
And I love having these nemesis and fun banter and battles, and it's a joy.
Since
it's
we're
just
pulling the
lovely.
curtain back, we need to go back to taking pictures of what we're drinking every week.
Yeah,
fair. We'll get back to
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we need to.
That's one of our
100% correct.
our things we need to do this year.
All right, everybody. I swore I was going to get this in under 30 minutes, so we're all done. Next week is episode number 300. Until then,
Got about 40 seconds left.
fucking say goodbye.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right, the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of my lord. Let's straight and shorts. Sam Prem, hey.
Sam Brown.
Brooklyn United! Brooklyn United! Hit the fucking mute button!